Hey everyone! I felt like I was initially a little late to hear about Gunfire Reborn, but since it seems scheduled to be released relatively soon, I wanted to get this video out to you gamers so you could take a look and see for yourselves. After just a few brief moments of gameplay, I was immediately reminded of Borderlands in so many ways. You have multiple characters with the option of single player or cooperative play. You swap around unique dropped weapons that have randomized powerful stats. In addition, the characters have specialized skills and upgrades which allows you to guide them into different play styles as well. And of course the art direction, while not identical, has that similar fun, bright, and cartoony vibe. Now, I know that was a lot to digest at once, so I'm going to break down for you what's here and what's included in the early access release. The campaign for the game appears to be scheduled for full release and will likely be very different from the design here, but I'll still do my best to also steer clear of what might be considered a spoiler. Also, I have no idea what the future holds in terms of content, so we can only focus on the here and now, and maybe I can loop back around with the aftermath video. I'm going to start with the guns. There's a few that'll be considered normal, but the majority of the weapons at your disposal here, aside from the cute or clever animations they come with, they're actually very diverse. I can't complain about the creativity involved. Weapons unlock as you progress, whether that be through killing certain enemies a number of times, or advancing your talents. Many weapons feature elemental effects as one of the more common RNG elements you'll find as weapons eventually start to rain down around you. They can drop randomly from enemies or even possibly be purchased from an NPC known as the Peddler. And while I wouldn't call myself an expert with shooters, the aim and shoot mechanics, the physics surrounding projectiles as they travel or bounce, it all feels very crisp, very smooth. Arguably one of the most critical aspects of a game of this nature, some realism is actually sacrificed here to keep everything fun and easy to understand. The toon shaders used in games like this, similar to the cel-shaded look of Borderlands, it makes your targets a lot more obvious. Enemies, guns, gold, and any other drops are all really easy to see. They're contrasted against the simple tone choices used for most areas of the game. When headshots or precision shots become much more required in later stages of the game, your choice of weapons, and the skills along the way, will determine if you're a better long-range fighter or if you want to get right into the mix. Another NPC, the Craftsman, allows you to upgrade and reforge a weapon if you find one that you really love, but it's an expensive process, and sometimes harder to justify. As you progress, the weapon drops increase in level alongside you, and also develop rarer and more complex skills. So investing in a gun can get you ahead of the curve in terms of power, but it won't be long before you find one that has a really cool skill that you'll also really kinda want. The movement in this game is a bit floaty. There's a jump feature, and the levels have multiple height layers at times, but jumping isn't often needed, with the exception of a few puzzles. Though I suppose you could get creative if you like. Many of the character upgrades, whether it be through ascension or scrolls you find, more often include improvements surrounding your movement speed, or your dash maneuver for the most part. Those speed upgrades, especially for boss battles in my experience, make you much more survivable. When looking at each of the unique characters in the game, they're also incredibly diverse in terms of skills and potential ascension trees. What you see at first glance with each of them also doesn't really show you the potential of what they can become through in-game advancement. Choosing a character, in this case the default character, gives you a smoke grenade skill and an energy ball for big damage. There's ammo in the game for your grenades, and the other skill recharges fairly quickly, and you can fire it at will. Completing stages in vaults, or killing bosses or elite enemies can result in drops that ascend your character for that run, adding powerful rules to their fundamental gameplay. Continuing a run will specialize you further and further away from that base character that you started with. I won't go through the ins and outs of each of the characters here, but in case you were curious, this guy was my favorite. I was able to clear the game multiple times with him, and the skill choices and a good run of luck can make him very powerful. My biggest critiques in the game right now are actually already being addressed. You'll likely want more settings and locations. With Gunfire Reborn being just $12, there's a lot here in terms of skills and upgrades. And oddly enough, I'll say I don't even feel like there was a shortage of weapons at this juncture. But there just aren't that many levels to the game. They are slightly randomized, but each attempt is very similar to the last right now. The in-game roadmap, however, mentions the campaign coming along with the game's release. Based on what's here, a full campaign would certainly shake things up to add that missing flavor. Now, after I'd unlocked all of the current characters, I felt like I'd seen everything that their early release had to offer, but I didn't feel in any way let down. Through the process of earning experience and talents that offer permanent boosts from one playthrough to the next, I never felt at any point that this was grinding for the sake of it, and gaming in short bursts actually made it a lot of fun for me. Not only was it a blast to play the majority of the time, but knowing that there's even more to come soon helps a lot as well. While the current level design might be a bit samey, your choice of character, playstyle, and some random chaos certainly give you enough replayability for the asking price here. Additional game modes, like increased difficulties with corresponding loot rarity, also let you work your way to the top of the talent tree. There's also daily challenges that exist, but they don't seem to offer incentive right now at all from what I can tell, except to maybe offer another crumb of replayability for a player who's basically maxed out otherwise. As far as myself, I went about everything solo, and I managed to clear the game a number of times. Things were far more of an immediate challenge at first, but I felt the game difficulty ramp down fairly quickly as experience allowed me to boost health, shields, and new in-game gun options became more available. You'll certainly get rolled much more often at the forefront of this game. For better or worse, this is another title that's only going to get easier as you play it, but essentially follows the same winning formula as Hades. You make a choice, you start a run, make choices at certain points that influence how you play. And of course, this being a shooter, also allowing for multiplayer makes a big difference. And it may be able to scratch an itch for players looking for that player versus environment cooperative shooter. In my opinion, there aren't enough great examples of those out there right now. All in all, I was happy to play Gunfire Reborn, and I'll look forward to a full release soon. Once again, I appreciate you guys spending a few minutes with me today. Thanks for watching.